Do you really think he's going to start blasting gear, adding in trend? If he did, there is no possible way that Larry could make 220. Wouldn't be possible. Coach Greg, in today's video, Bradley Martyn is attempting classic physique with Larry Wheels. And so in case you never knew this, Bradley Martyn once competed in men's physique, the board shorts division. And if you've seen this guy's physique, he has a ton of muscle, great shape, and so I do in fact think he would do extremely well in men's classic physique. And not to mention, Bradley Martyn is 6'3", and that means as an amateur, he can compete at 250 pounds. In comparison, Larry Wheels, his weight class cutoff, 220 pounds.
I need someone to shave my back.
I'll do it for you.
Thank you.
I knew you would.
And so Bradley Martyn states, I need someone to shave my back. That is very annoying. When you get up on stage, you can't have hair anywhere. You have to shave your back, your chest, legs, everything. And so if you don't have a partner, you do in fact have to beg someone, hey, do you mind if I shave my back? And so perhaps Larry Wheels can shave Bradley Martyn's back. And so Larry asked Bradley, hey, why don't we let Ryan, my coach us both for a competition in classic physique? Bradley's response, yeah, I think I got one more run at it. And honestly, I think Bradley Martyn would do amazing. I, in fact, think he would beat Larry Wheels. I mean, look at this guy. Look at the muscles on him. He has an amazing physique, and so why wouldn't he do good in classic? He has the height, the size, the shape, and so why not Bradley? Give it a try. I mean, look at him. Who do you think would win between Bradley and Larry Wheels?
Yeah, I remember back in the day, you coached at the shows, all that shit.
Yeah, I probably have a 400 or 500 athletes still.
Shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
And so just think of how amazing this Ryan guy, he's coaching Larry Wheels for every single session. And on top of Larry Wheels, he's also coaching 400 to 500 clients and or athletes. 1 hour a month would take him 16 hours every single day, no days off. And so I always laugh when people say they're coaching 400 or 500 clients, because I once coached over 60 clients and it was a nightmare, could hardly handle it. I felt like that's all I was doing, hardly sleeping, up half the night to keep up with 60. But this guy, he's so much better than Coach Greg. He can coach 400 or 500 clients.
So you're really doing it for real?
100%, yeah. He's coaching me every session.
And remember, he's coaching Larry Wheels every session. Larry just said it. How could he possibly coach 400 or 500 clients? Well, maybe it's cookie cutter program and he's not actually coaching them. Or you can believe whatever you want. Perhaps he's customizing all these programs, giving them all the attention they need, answering every question, phone calls, text messages, emails, adjusting the diets. Or he's not.
So you're really doing it for real?
100%, yeah. He's coaching me every session.
Are you changing your stack?
And so now that we know that Ryan's coaching Larry every single session on top of those 400 or 500 clients, he asks, what is your stack? Is it going to change? Because we know you're only on HRT, 175 milligrams a week.
We're trying to keep it as close to TRT as possible.
Yeah.
But we're going to need diuretics, right? My cutoff for my height is about 220, 230.
Oh, fuck.
And I'm like 258 right now, so we got some work ahead of us, right?
And so Bradley, as soon as he finds out the cutoff for his height, 220 pounds, he's thinking, what is wrong with you? You can't do that. You're 255 pounds. You're 35 pounds over your weight class. And so Larry's got a big smile saying, no, I can do it. Can he really? I mean, of course he can do it. If he loses a ton of muscle, shrinks himself down, of course he can make 220. But how is he going to look if he doesn't have all that muscle?
I think I'm pretty lean as it is, so I don't know where our weight's coming from. Brian, please explain.
And so Larry's basically saying he's going to do a very mild cycle as close to TRT as possible. He's going to add in diuretics to help dry out, make the weight class, and perhaps some other things. Perhaps he'll lower the dose of testosterone, add in masterone or primo to get a harder look. Perhaps add in an anti-estrogen to really give him that dried out, shredded look. But he's not going to use abusive doses, and I 100% believe him. Think of it. He's 255, he has to cut down to 220. Do you really think he's going to start blasting gear, adding in trend? If he did, there is no possible way that Larry could make 220. Wouldn't be possible.
Right around 229 before we go into peak week, we're good. 9 pounds of water, we can pull
Oh,
off
I see what you're saying, yeah.
And so his coach is saying, yeah, we're 35 pounds over, but all we have to do is get down to 229, so in fact lose about 25 pounds, and then we can pull the rest as water. But he says himself, he's very lean right now, and so how is this 25 pounds of body fat going to disappear? To lose 25 pounds of fat when you're 255 pounds, it's close to about 10% body fat, give or take. And so Larry, who looks about 10% body fat, how could he possibly lose 10% body fat? You can't compete at 0%. You'd be dead. And so what's going to happen is Larry is going to lose muscle. He's going to get smaller. You're thinking Larry looks amazing, and he does. He has a ton of muscle, but he's 255. If he's 220, he's not going to look nearly as big. Seeing as Larry has to get leaner, drop 35 pounds, the number one supplement that I'd recommend that he's probably not taking right now, GO2 Max, the main ingredient, NMN, has been shown in clinical studies, human studies, double-blind, placebo-controlled, that's right, it's not the placebo effect, to dramatically improve walking test scores. In other words, makes you better at performing cardio, better recovery, increased stamina, you can burn more calories in less length of time, and makes you a better butter burner. And so if he adds this into his supplement stack, he can get leaner, make it easier. Highly recommend code Greg, 10% off. Click the link in the description.
Yeah, you're gonna look crazy.
Bro, I can't wait.
And so Bradley says, you're going to look crazy. Well, of course he does. People don't often speak the truth, especially in person. It's hard to tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. They want to hear, wow, at 220, you're going to be incredible. Imagine the shreds, you're going to blow everyone away. You're going to get a pro card. What they need to hear is, Larry, you would do better in bodybuilding. You once competed in bodybuilding much bigger. You simply weren't lean enough. But in classic physique, it's all about that small, tiny waist, about having the X-frame, barn door wide shoulders, and quads that have amazing sweep. Larry does not have this kind of sweep in his quads. He does have overall a decent shape, but it's not a pro-worthy physique. Now, I'm not saying he shouldn't compete, but please don't think he's going to get a pro card. He might, in fact, win a local amateur classic physique competition, but he's not going to be at the pro level. And why? Because the weight cap prevents him having enough muscle to look competitive.
I kind of am too, I'm not gonna lie. I took like, it must have been like 3 years. I've been so just like minimal everything.
And so Bradley states, look, in the last 3 years, I've been on minimal supplements. And what he means is performance enhancing drugs. He's been on very low doses, perhaps a little bit more than HRT. I don't know. And so he has the urge to go back on a big cycle, to put on a ton of muscle. And so Larry's saying, please enter classic physique. That would be amazing. He can still add muscle to his frame. He says he's willing to go on higher supplement doses. For Bradley, I do think this would be an excellent idea. For Larry, I think he should do it for the fun of it, for the love of it, and perhaps even go natural, 100%, not even take TRT, because after all, he has too much muscle. He can't make 220 without losing any muscle. And so why take steroids if your goal is in fact to lose muscle? After the competition's over, he could go back on HRT and regain the muscle that he'd lost.
I'm getting on it anyway, have fun, and I want to see what I can look like. Giving up the PRs and dedicating solely to bodybuilding for at least a couple of years.
And so Larry Wheels, who we thought was trying to deadlift 1,000 pounds, perhaps he's realized he can't lift 1,000 pounds without taking performance-enhancing drugs. He cares about his health, and so for the next couple of years, he wants to devote his time, energy, his training towards bodybuilding, in particular, classic physique. The problem is, with the weight cap being 220, I don't see it in his cards to turn pro. Not that he has to turn pro or that is his goal, but when you're at Larry's level, you're used to being one of, if not the best athlete in the world at almost anything. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow to compete at a local level and perhaps even get beat out by guys in their first competition.
You know, when I was competing, I was obviously really focused on just that overall mass, but I still hold a decent amount. I got it all from hard work and training, so.
I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about this.
Oh, hell yeah, this is the hardest thing in the world.
And so one thing I really like about this video is when Ryan goes on to discuss how it feels to stop competing. He used to abuse performance-enhancing drugs, and he stopped for about 5 years. And so despite the fact he hasn't competed in years, he continued to abuse PEDS even after he was done competing. Bradley says, hey, is it tough? And he's saying, well, physically, he's like, no, the mind, was it tough on the mind? Absolutely. It's nearly impossible. He states, if it wasn't for coaching, I don't know if I could have handled it.
Like my coaching,
I understand.
than I did being the athlete. So it like gave me a transition.
Right.
But if it weren't for that, I don't know, man. It would have been.
And so Ryan explains this is very difficult. And so I caution anyone, if you're not on steroids, if you've never taken them before, be careful. Think twice before you ever think about doing it. And remember, never break the law, only do so with the advice and consent from your doctor. Because if you do decide to do it, you see the changes and you suddenly stop and you lose those gains, it's very difficult to overcome.
You know, just that mental part of like, not necessarily feeling like that superhuman, you know?
And so he states, I don't feel superhuman anymore. I can't recover the way I used to. But that's not the worst part. It's the mental discipline that you need to not see yourself as the largest man in the room, to be able to just be a normal human being. And so please, I caution you, if you're not using performance enhancing drugs, don't start.
Okay, if we did the same show, he might kill me. You got those superior insertions and
The ab bullshit.
And so Larry is a realist. He says, if we were to do the same show, you might kill me. You have better insertions. He looks amazing, but I don't know. He's just trying to be nice. People don't like to say, yeah, I would in fact destroy you. Look at me. He wouldn't say that. Sounds too arrogant, cocky. And so Bradley asks, what do you need to work on? Larry clearly knows I need to bring up my legs, but back in the day when I trained them effectively twice a week, they in fact grow. But as you know, he has to make 220. How's he going to be able to do so? He wants to shrink down his waist, but if he does that, is he going to be able to lift the way he's always done in the past? Is he going to really make all those sacrifices and not train the way he likes to in order to just do classic physique?
tighten my waist up. Yeah.
That's where, well, we got 30 pounds to work with.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it'll be there. That waist will be non-existent by the time we get on stage.
And so the coach promises the waist is going to be non-existent when it comes to getting on stage. Well, perhaps, maybe, maybe not. People often say what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. I'm saying I don't think he can get his pro card, although I think he has an amazing physique. Clearly, it's far superior to 99.99% of the population. But in terms of getting a pro card, I don't think he has the shape for it. He won't be able to make the weight class effectively. But best of luck to Larry, possibly even Bradley Martyn if he decides to compete in the future. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm, watch the bloops, of course, and of course I have the cookbooks, training books, coaching plans by me and my team, the Circle diet book, clothing line, HGLT subs, free training and diet program, over 50 pages. Head over to the website, and until next time, I am out.